There comes a moment in every soul's journey when logic collapses, when reason bows its head before the mystery of faith. It is the moment you stand between two worlds, the visible and the invisible, and you must decide which you will serve. On one side, the evidence of your senses declares it cannot be. On the other, the whisper of spirit insists it is already done. And in that sacred tension, faith is born. This is the secret that separates those who wait for miracles from those who live them. The ability to believe in what reason denies. Every prophet, every mystic, every awakened soul has walked this narrow bridge, the bridge of imagination. It is the bridge between what the world calls real and what God calls finished. We walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5-7. To believe when reason denies it is not to be naive. It is to know a higher law, the law that what is seen was made from what is unseen. The universe itself is the evidence of imagination made visible. Everything that exists today was once only a vision in the unseen. The house you live in, the phone in your hand, the song you love, all began as an idea. Thought became form. Imagination became matter. So when reason tells you that your desire is impossible, understand this. Reason is not lying. It is simply describing what has already been created. But faith speaks of what is becoming. Faith operates from the unseen dimension where all things are already accomplished. And when you learn to dwell in that unseen place, the visible must follow. Faith does not wait for proof. Faith creates proof. The human mind, left to itself, serves the five senses. It records what it sees and calls it reality. But the awakened mind knows that consciousness is the only reality. The imagination is the womb of creation. It is written, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." Faith is not blind. Faith is the unseen evidence. Faith is the spiritual eye that sees before the body can. To believe when reason denies it is to see with that eye. But how? How can one truly believe when every appearance contradicts the desire? How do you hold faith when the facts scream otherwise? You begin by remembering who you are. You are not the creature of circumstance you appear to be. You are the imaginal power of God individualized. The same power that said, "Let there be light," lives in you now as awareness. And awareness is the one and only cause of experience. Every state of consciousness you occupy, whether of fear, love, abundance, or lack, projects itself into the outer world. The world you call real is simply a mirror, reflecting the image held in the depth of your imagination. So when reason denies your desire, do not fight the outer world. Change the inner picture. Begin with imagination. Close your eyes and enter the silence. Let the external evidence fade. Withdraw attention from the problem, the statistics, the past. In the stillness, see only the end. If you desire healing, imagine the vitality of perfect health. If you desire reconciliation, imagine the warmth of harmony restored. If you desire abundance, imagine yourself freely giving, generously sharing, living in overflow. You do not need to know how. The how is God's domain. Your part is to believe it real, to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Reason will resist at first. It will remind you of the facts, the failures, the odds. It will quote statistics. It will present logic. It will replay the past. But reason is not the voice of God. Reason belongs to the old man, the mind of flesh. Faith belongs to the new man, the mind of Christ. And it is written, "Let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus." The Christ mind does not argue with appearances. It declares truth in the face of contradiction. It says to the storm, "Peace, be still." It looks at death itself and says, "She is not dead, but sleepeth." The Christ mind never waits to see. It believes and then sees. This is the science of faith. When you enter the state of the wish fulfilled and persist in it, your subconscious, the creative medium of God, accepts it as fact. It begins to reorganize the patterns of your life to match the assumption. The world reshuffles itself around your new belief. People move, events shift, opportunities appear, coincidences multiply, all as the invisible law arranges matter to mirror your inner conviction. But this process is often invisible to the senses. And here is where most people fail. They pray, they imagine, they affirm, And when the outer world does not change immediately, they return to doubt. They allow reason to dethrone faith, and faith, once divided, loses its power. So if you would see the miracle, you must remain unmoved by appearances. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. James Zechech, you must train your inner ear to listen not to the world, but to the inner assurance of completion. There is a voice within that knows. It whispers, it is done. When you hear that voice, trust it more than the evidence of your eyes. Faith is an inner hearing, the soul's ability to feel the reality of the unseen until it solidifies into form. When reason denies it, faith insists it is already finished in God. House, let this become your new prayer, not of begging, but of knowing. I am what I desire to be. It is done. It is finished. Hold that truth as a sacred flame in your heart. Every time reason tries to extinguish it, fan it gently with imagination. Each time doubt whispers, answer with feeling. You do not conquer reason with argument. You transcend it through awareness. Awareness is the light that reveals all illusion as temporary. You are not asked to deny facts, only to understand that facts change when consciousness changes. The sick body is a fact. The healed body is also a fact, but in another dimension of awareness. The empty account is a fact. The overflowing account is also a fact in a higher frequency of consciousness. Faith shifts you between dimensions of fact. So when reason denies your desire, do not fight reason. Simply turn within and assume the higher fact. Say within yourself, though the fig tree shall not blossom, neither shall fruit be in the vines, yet will I rejoice in the Lord. Because rejoicing is not reaction, it is creation. Joy is faith in motion. To rejoice before the manifestation appears is to prove that you believe it already exists. This is how you believe it when reason denies it. You live from the end. You feel from the victory. You become the embodiment of answered prayer before the evidence arrives. Faith does not come from trying harder. It comes from resting deeper. Rest in the awareness that God's promise cannot fail. Rest in the knowledge that imagination creates reality. Rest in the truth that your assumption, once felt as real, must externalize. And if you ever doubt this, look to the pattern of nature itself. The seed buried in the soil cannot see the sunday. By all appearances, it is surrounded by darkness. Reason would say it is dead, but within the stillness, unseen forces are at work. The seed is breaking open, not dying, transforming. Faith is that invisible germination. When nothing seems to happen, the miracle is already unfolding underground. And then, suddenly, without warning, the sprout breaks through the surface. So too with your desire. Though reason says it cannot be, though evidence seems barren, though nothing moves on the surface within the unseen, life is moving. Your assumption has taken root, and if you persist in faith, the harvest must come. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarry, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not tarry. Habakkuk 2-3. When you understand this, patience ceases to be suffering. Patience becomes praise. You no longer wait in anxiety. You wait in assurance. You no longer ask when. You say now. Because in the dimension of faith, all things are now. Creation is finished. You are not creating. You are selecting from the infinite possibilities already existing in the mind of God. When reason says, it's not here, faith answers, it already is. To believe it when reason denies it is to walk as Christ walked, not by the eyes of flesh, but by the eyes of spirit. You see beyond appearances to the eternal reality of completion. The blind see, the lame walk, the sick rise, the storm still, not because conditions changed first, but because consciousness changed first. So too will your world respond. Hold fast the inner image. Guard it as a treasure. Refuse to speak against it. Refuse to imagine its opposite. Let your mind become the sacred temple of faith, and each day dwell quietly in the end. Imagine yourself already possessing what you desire. Feel the relief, the gratitude, the joy of fulfillment. Then go about your day as though it were already so, not pretending knowing, because the moment you feel it real, the subconscious begins its work. It does not fail. It cannot fail. Faith is not wishful thinking. It is divine law. And when you align yourself with that law, the impossible becomes inevitable. The world will call it coincidence. You will call it answered prayer. One day, when reason finally beholds the miracle, it will fall silent, humble before the majesty of faith. For reason serves faith. It was never meant to rule it. Then you will understand what was meant by the words, according to your faith, be it unto you, not according to reason, not according to circumstance, but according to faith. To believe when reason denies it is to stand as a creator in a world of reactors. It is to live from the higher truth that all things are possible to him that believeth. So when reason shows you lack, look higher. When reason points to delay, look deeper. When reason warns of failure, look inward. And there, in the secret place of imagination, declare the end as already fulfilled. This is how mountains move. This is how prayers are answered. This is how the word becomes flesh. Be still now. Let the truth settle into you. Faith is not a fight, it is a surrender. Surrender to the unseen reality of your desire as already accomplished. Let the words rise from within. It is done. It is finished. It is mine now. And as you rest in that awareness, the law begins to work. The seen world rearranges itself in obedience to the unseen word. Paths open, delays dissolve, miracles unfold, not because you forced them, but because you believed. This is the science of God and the art of imagination. To believe it when reason denies, it is the highest act of faith. It is the courage to stand in truth while the world still slumbers in illusion. But once you see, you can never unsee. Once you believe, the world must conform, for belief is creation. And when you dare to believe, even when reason denies it, you become the living proof that faith is the evidence of things unseen. The light fades, the music slows. You are alone with your breath and the quiet pulse of life itself. Listen, every sound, every movement, every flicker of awareness is proof that consciousness never sleeps. And this same consciousness that holds galaxies together now moves through you as thought, as imagination, as being. There is no distance between you and the infinite. There is only agreement or disagreement with what God already knows of you. When you agree with divine possibility, the world reshapes itself to mirror that agreement. So take a deep breath now. Let it fill your lungs like morning air. And as you exhale, let go of every story of limitation. Whisper within yourself, I accept the unseen as real. Feel those words sink deeper than your reasoning mind. For in this sacred stillness, faith is not effort, it is awareness. You do not have to prove your worthiness. You only have to let go of disbelief. Close your eyes and see the end already complete. See the healed body moving freely. See the relationships restored. See the abundance flowing. See yourself at peace. Do not reach for it. Simply observe it until you feel it. This feeling, this calm knowing, is the bridge between what reason denies and what God has already finished. Hold it a little longer. Breathe it a little deeper. Let the energy of certainty replace every argument of logic. If thoughts arise saying, but how? Smile inwardly and answer, my Father within me, He doeth the works. You need not see the mechanism. You only need to remain in the mood of completion. Because the law that governs the seed governs your prayer. The moment you plant it in imagination and feel it real, the process begins. In silence, in stillness, unseen by eyes but known by spirit, life moves toward fulfillment. You will awaken one morning to find that what once required belief no longer does. It will be here, solid, natural, obvious. And you will smile because you remember this moment of quiet conviction. Reason will look for explanations, but faith will simply nod and say, of course, Anza. This is how mountains move, not by struggle, not by willpower, but by an inner stillness so complete that the outer world must obey it. So walk gently now, speak softly, carry this stillness with you like light. When you face a fact that seems immovable, return to this inner place. See beyond it, feel beyond it, know beyond it. And remember, the unseen is more solid than the seen, because the unseen is the cause and the seen is the echo. Let your faith live in causes, not in echoes. Let your imagination dwell in the finished work, not in appearances. And as you do, watch how quietly, how naturally life bends to your belief. For this is the eternal promise. All things are possible to him that believeth, not to him that reasons, not to him that waits for proof, but to him that believes. So believe now, even when reason denies it, especially when reason denies it, believe. And you will find that heaven itself moves to meet your faith. The night grows quiet around you. The outer world settles, but the inner world is alive, pulsing, listening, shaping. Every breath carries within it the same pattern that turns darkness into dawn. This rhythm is God reminding you that creation never stops. You have believed, now you rest. You have spoken the word, now the word moves. It moves through unseen channels, through hearts and hands, through time itself, arranging the good that already belongs to you. Stay gentle in this knowing. Walk softly through tomorrow, as though it were holy ground, because it is. Every step you take is over soil that has already heard your prayer. Every face you meet is a possible messenger of your answered desire. Do not hurry the process. You cannot rush the sunrise. You can only face east and wait for it with certainty. Faith is that posture, the still gaze that knows the light is inevitable. If reason whispers again, but what if it fails? Answer it with a smile and a breath. Say quietly, there is no failure in God. Let that truth echo through you until it becomes the atmosphere you breathe. Look around at the simple things, the movement of trees, the hum of life, the quiet pulse of your own heart, and realize this same power that holds the universe together is the power that fulfills your imagination. You are part of the unbroken order of creation. Your faith is its language. Your feeling is its signature. So tonight, before you sleep, return once more to the end you have chosen. See it, feel it, give thanks for it. Let gratitude become your lullaby. Let peace be the pillow beneath your head. And as you drift between waking and dreaming, whisper within yourself, I know that my Redeemer liveth. I know that what I have believed, I have received. In that quiet space, the seed is sealed. The subconscious accepts it. The law goes to work. When you rise again, do not look for signs. Become the sign. Live as though the world has already caught up with your conviction. Move through your day as one who remembers the end of the story. For you do remember it now. The end where everything aligns. The end where love wins. The end where reason kneels before faith. Carry that memory with you until it becomes the new logic of your life. And when others see the peace in your eyes, they will ask, how can you be so sure when nothing has changed? You will answer quietly, because everything has. The change happened within, in the place where faith met imagination and called it truth. Now, as the final notes fade, stand in the stillness one last time. Let the silence speak the word for you. It is done. No striving, no doubt, only the living awareness of completion. And from that awareness, creation unfolds, naturally, perfectly, inevitably. So rest in it, walk in it, breathe in it. For you have learned how to believe it when reason denies it. You have learned how to stand in the unseen until it appears. This is faith. This is the science of the soul. This is the secret that turns every impossibility into inevitability. Be still and know you are not waiting for the miracle. You are the miracle remembering itself. And as you live from that remembrance, the world will echo back your certainty in 1,000 quiet ways. All is well. All is finished. All is God. Dawn begins to lift on the edge of thought. The silence you have carried through the night starts to breathe again as light. Every color, every sound, every familiar face you will meet today is a reflection of this inner sunrise. You no longer wonder whether faith works. You live as proof that it does. The calm that fills you now is not an ending. It is a new beginning. Walk out into the world slowly. Notice how time feels softer, how air itself seems to move with you. Each small act, pouring water, opening a door, greeting a stranger, becomes an extension of the same awareness that spoke your world into being. When doubts try to return, Smile at them like old friends who have forgotten your new name. You owe them no explanation. You simply outgrew them. Let your inner dialogue stay simpler. Thank you. Guide me. Use me. These words keep the channel open between heaven and earth, between the unseen and the seen. And when evening comes again before you sleep, remember this. You believed when reason denied it. You held faith when sight refused it. And the law answered not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. This is the rhythm of all creation. Faith conceived, imagination received, manifestation revealed. Rest in that rhythm now. Let the music fade to quiet. Let the light dim to peace. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. It will, because you walk in awareness of the source. You walk as one who knows that every step is guided, every need already met, every desire already answered. So let this be your closing breath tonight. All that I sought is within. All that I imagine lives. All that I believe, I now see. And it is good. The morning you wake after faith has taken root feels different. You open your eyes and sense a quiet order beneath the noise of the world. Nothing around you may have changed yet, but something within you has shifted. You are no longer waiting for proof. You are walking as proof. This is what it means to live from the end, not as an act of effort, but as a rhythm of being. When you live from the end, you no longer chase outcomes. You express completion. Your thoughts, words, and movements begin to flow from the awareness that it is already done. To live from the end is to see every moment as sacred confirmation of an invisible truth. When you pray, believe that you receive them, and you shall have them. End quote. These are not future tense words. They are present commands. Believe that you receive now. To believe that you have received means to embody the state of the wish fulfilled long before it appears to the senses. And so each morning becomes an altar of creation. When you wake, you do not ask, what will happen today? You declare, today I walk in the finished work of God. This declaration shifts your vibration before the first step is taken. It turns the day from reaction to creation. In this awareness, small tasks become holy gestures. The cup you lift, the door you open, the words you speak, each one radiates the feeling of completion. Because when the end lives within you, every moment becomes part of its unfolding. The air around you moves quietly as morning light fills the room. You stand still for a moment, not to plan the day, but to remember. You remember that every action is a continuation of an inner state. You do not act to become. You act because you already are. Living from the end is the gentle discipline of returning again and again to that awareness. When the mind starts to measure progress, you smile and breathe. When old thoughts whisper, nothing's happening, you answer, everything is happening, just not yet visible. Faith does not rush, it aligns. So as you move through the hours, let gratitude lead your pace. Gratitude keeps the heart tuned to what is finished instead of what appears undone. Say thank you for the unseen, and the unseen begins to take shape. If someone speaks in anger, respond from the end. If delays appear, act from peace, not panic. Each moment becomes an opportunity to prove to yourself that your inner world governs the outer. You will notice that life starts to feel coordinated. Small coincidences, soft alignments. They are not signs to chase, but mirrors showing that consciousness is working faithfully. At night before you sleep, return once more to the inner scene of completion. Let the same calm certainty that began your day close it. You are no longer waiting for your world to change. You are training your awareness to see the change already in motion. This is living from the end, to wake in faith, to walk in gratitude, to rest in assurance. A simple rhythm, steady as breath. And as this rhythm becomes natural, reason itself begins to agree with it. What was once unseen becomes self-evident. The life you imagined stands before you, quiet and real, because you have lived its truth every day. And now, as the night deepens and the world outside dims into silence, you realize the magnitude of what has transpired within you. You have shifted the axis of your being. The external world may appear unchanged, yet the inner world has already claimed victory. The seed of your imagination has sprouted, unseen, beneath the soil of circumstance, and nothing can stop its ascent. Do not be anxious about the timeline. Time is a servant to consciousness, bending obediently to the direction of your inner assumption. The universe does not rush, yet nothing is ever late. All things move in perfect accord with the state of your awareness. You are the conductor of this silent symphony, the unseen hand that orchestrates reality through the steady rhythm of belief. Notice how the small things begin to respond. The phone rings with unexpected news. The letter arrives bearing the answer. The encounter you longed for falls effortlessly into place. These are not coincidences. They are the outer manifestations of your inner state. The law of creation has heard your word, your feeling, your unwavering knowing. What reason dismissed, faith has already fulfilled. Walk gently into tomorrow carrying this awareness. Speak carefully, for your words now serve the inner image you have planted. Thoughts and speech are not idle. They are tendrils of consciousness that draw matter toward the unseen end you inhabit. The world conforms not to the hurried efforts of the unawakened, but to the quiet insistence of one who lives from the end. And when trials come, as they always will, do not allow the old man, the reasoning mind, to sway you. Observe without judgment, act without panic, and return always to the inner scene. Let the mind of Christ dwell within you, unshaken by appearances, unwavering in vision. Let the heart rejoice in the invisible, the impossible, the yet to be seen. For every moment of doubt is an opportunity to deepen the inner conviction. Each challenge is a mirror, reflecting where the awareness has yet to settle. Do not resist. Simply remember, close your eyes, breathe deeply, and return to the reality that exists already in the unseen. You are the fulfillment, walking before the fulfillment is visible. You are the answered prayer before it arrives at the hand of your senses. This is the eternal posture of the awakened soul. Stillness in the storm, certainty in the face of contradiction, gratitude before the gift is handed. The body rests in peace, the mind rests in knowing, and the soul celebrates the completion that reason cannot yet perceive. And when morning comes, you rise not to seek but to embody, not to grasp but to radiate the end already chosen. Every action, every smile, every thought, every breath becomes a proclamation. The unseen is real, the impossible is possible, and all that God has spoken in the depths of your imagination must now emerge in form. Faith has become second nature. Imagination is no longer idle fantasy, but sacred law. Your consciousness is now the architect of your reality, and the world bends in harmony with your inner decree. You see the proof not only in manifestations, but in the ease, the alignment, the quiet authority with which you move through life. Remember, you are never separate from the source. The power that shaped the cosmos flows through you in silent obedience. It is not an external force you summon. It is the awareness of what already is. All that you have imagined, all that you have believed, all that you have quietly assumed as real, now waits only for your continued recognition. Let this recognition be unbroken. Let it saturate every thought, every intention, every fiber of your being. Reason may murmur, circumstance may seem stubborn, and the world may appear indifferent, but your consciousness is sovereign. What you hold within, the universe must obey. So rest tonight in the certainty of completion. Let your breath echo the rhythm of creation. Let your heart beat in harmony with the pulse of the unseen. Let every cell, every thought, every quiet sensation remember the truth you have awakened to. It is done. It is finished. It is yours. Sleep now in that awareness. Let it weave through your dreams, coloring each image with the hue of fulfillment. When you awaken, let your first thought be gratitude, your first feeling be certainty, your first action be a reflection of the unseen end you inhabit. And understand this, the world is not changed by effort, struggle, or reason. It is changed by consciousness. It is shaped by faith, molded by imagination, and brought into being by the calm, unwavering knowing that what you see with the spiritual eye is already reality. Carry this knowing into every corner of your life. Let it inform your relationships, your work, your health, your abundance. Let every encounter, every moment, every choice be a reflection of the end you live from. For you are no longer a reactor to circumstance. You are the conscious creator, the manifestation of divine imagination made flesh. And in this sacred posture, You walk forever free, free from doubt, free from fear, free from the tyranny of appearances. You move as one who knows that the invisible always precedes the visible, that the thought always precedes the form, that the inner world governs the outer. So stand now in that truth. Let it shine through every gesture, every smile, every word. Let it radiate in the quiet certainty of being who you have imagined yourself to be. And as you do, the universe answers naturally, perfectly, inevitably. All is done. All is finished. All is yours. Faith has spoken, and the world bows. And now, as the final whisper of night gives way to dawn, you rest in a silence so complete it hums with life itself. There is no striving, no struggle, only the quiet knowing that all things you have imagined, all desires you have felt as real, are already accomplished. Breathe deeply. Feel the pulse of creation moving through you. Every cell, every thought, every beat of your heart resonates with the invisible law that has already fulfilled your wish. You are no longer reaching for reality. Reality flows through you. You are the living proof that the unseen is more powerful than the seen. Walk gently into this new day, carrying the stillness of completion in every step. Speak softly, act calmly, love freely, and let the world reflect back the truth you hold within, that all is done, all is finished, all is yours. And when you close your eyes tonight, let gratitude be your last breath and peace your final thought. Sleep in the assurance of the invisible. Rest in the certainty of the fulfilled, and awaken knowing that the universe has always been and will always be in perfect alignment with the faith of your heart. This is the ultimate secret, that to believe when reason denies it is not merely an act of hope. It is the very act of creation itself. You are the miracle. You are the fulfillment. You are the eternal expression of God's imagination made manifest. It is done. It is finished. And in this knowing, all else is silent, all else is still, all else bows to the living truth within you. You are complete, you are whole, you are free. And so it is.
You were never meant to be normal. You were never meant to crawl through life asking for crumbs from a world that was designed to echo your voice. You were never meant to dim the light of your assumption just to comfort those who cannot remember their own. There is something in you, something ancient, something royal, that has grown tired of shrinking, tired of waiting, tired of begging for what was already yours in the beginning. That tiredness is not weakness. It is the birth cry of your true identity. It is the I am stirring in the tomb of self-forgetting, whispering, arise and walk in your dominion. To act like you were meant to win is not arrogance. It is accuracy. It is alignment with the truth you buried beneath years of performance, trauma, and spiritual begging. You thought life was about becoming, but I tell you now, it is about remembering. Remembering that you were sent here to speak from the mountaintop, not to weep in the valley. You were meant to command with stillness, not perform with panic. The identity of the victor is not earned. It is assumed. But who taught you to lose? Who taught you that humility meant hesitation? Who taught you that asking for permission was noble, that deferring your power was spiritual? These are lies, systems of delay. You were never meant to carry them. You were not born to manifest from want, but to decree from fullness. And the world that now feels against you is not your enemy. It is your echo. It reflects only the tone you speak when no one else is listening. So let us be clear. You do not attract what you want. You attract what you are. And what you are is not what you say in moments of inspiration, but what you assume in the stillness. If you believe you were made to win, the world cannot help but organize around that belief. But if you carry the tone of the one trying to win, hoping to win, needing to win, the victory will remain a stranger to your house, because you are not inviting it, you are postponing it. There is a great reversal at the heart of spiritual law. You do not win and then feel like a winner. You feel like a winner, and then the outer bows in recognition. This is the only law. You cannot bypass it. You cannot cheat it with effort, with noise, with desperation. The feeling is the secret. And the feeling of the one who was meant to win is quiet, complete, unshaken by delay or denial. That feeling is your only task. That state is your only responsibility. From it, all things flow. So today I speak to the one who remembers, the one beneath your name, the one behind your face, the one who has always known there was more. I do not ask you to try harder. I ask you to rise. Rise into the assumption of your divine inheritance. Rise into the knowing that no one can give you what you have not already received within. Rise into the state of the man who does not wait for evidence. He is the evidence. Act like you were meant to win, because you were, because you are, because you cannot lose unless you continue to argue for the mask you were never born to wear. You've betrayed yourself more times than you care to count, not through violence, not through vice, but through vibration, through the subtle posture of defeat you carry in the silence. You say you believe, but your tone reveals an orphaned soul still waiting for permission to rise. You say, I am, with your lips, and yet your breath holds the tension of one who doubts his own authority. You walk into rooms with your head bowed low, asking the world to reflect what only you were meant to command. And when it does not, you call it rejection. But it is not rejection, it is feedback. The law is always listening. You prayed like a beggar while being the author. You whispered affirmations while rehearsing doubt. You hoped life would choose you while refusing to act like you'd already been chosen. That is not spiritual discipline, it is spiritual delay. You call it humility, but it is hesitation. You call it caution, but it is contradiction. You have clothed yourself in the garments of the loser while claiming to know the law, and that split has cost you everything. You look at your past and call it truth. You look at your failures and call them prophecies. But I tell you, the only thing they ever revealed was the state you dwelled in at the time. They do not speak of who you are. They speak only of who you were being. And who you were being was a man rehearsing loss, expecting delay, negotiating with heaven as if you were its servant instead of its image. The problem is not the world. The problem is that you've mistaken memory for identity. You've mistaken your track record for your name. But the past is not a prophecy unless you agree with it. The law does not remember. The law does not punish. It only reflects. And so long as you continue to identify as the one who must try harder, heal more, or earn it, you will remain locked in the posture of postponement, forever training for a war that is already over. You have been practicing defeat in your inner speech, saying you trust while scanning the horizon for validation, asking for signs because you don't yet believe your own word. This is the fracture. This is the error. You are still living like a man on the outside of his own kingdom, waiting for a gate that only opens from within. And every time you speak of lack, even casually, you tie yourself once more to the identity you say you're leaving behind. You must see it now. You've been waiting for circumstances to call you a winner, so you could finally believe it. But belief does not follow evidence. It precedes it. You act as if, not because you're deluded, but because the feeling is causative. You step into the state before the mirror changes, or the mirror has no choice but to reflect the old you. Do you not see? You are not reacting to reality. You are rehearsing it. You have been faithful, but not to the truth. You have been faithful to your unworthiness, to your delays, to your justifications. You have mastered the art of partial embodiment, speaking like a king, but moving like a beggar, declaring the law, but checking your phone for proof. And the law, being just, responds not to your words, but to your tone. And your tone has said, I am not yet. I am not enough. I am still waiting. But today you are exposed. And exposure is not condemnation. It is initiation. Now that you see the contradiction, you must choose. Will you continue speaking truth while living lie? Will you continue trying to manifest through effort instead of assumption? Will you keep asking the world to approve what your soul already knows? Or will you rise? Will you now walk, talk, breathe, and remain as one who was meant to win? Because until you do, no law, no teacher, no technique can save you from the identity you refuse to lay down. There is no power outside of your assumption. Let this truth pierce through every false altar you've ever built. You were told that life is earned, that favor must be proven, that results require approval from something greater than you, but I tell you now, you are the greater. You are the point of origin. You are the operant power. The feeling that you dare to accept as already true, even in the face of its complete physical absence, is the womb from which your world is born. Not someday, not when the signs agree, now, always now. Victory is not achieved, it is remembered. To act like you were meant to win is to remember that you already have. Every outcome you desire, every condition you seek to alter, every door you hope to walk through already exists in the eternal present. The only variable is your state of being, your frequency, the inner tone you carry in silence. That is the gatekeeper. That is the architect of all outcomes. This is the divine pattern hidden within Scripture. He calleth things that are not seen as though they were. Not because he is playing make-believe, but because he knows the invisible is more real than the visible. He does not ask the outer world for confirmation. He declares it from within and lets the outer rearrange. You were taught to believe when you see. I tell you, you will see when you believe, and not 1 second sooner. Assumption is not performance, it is not enthusiasm, it is inner congruence, the complete alignment of identity and inner speech and expectation around one sacred fact: it is already so. That alignment is what produces the echo, that is the divine pattern, and until that alignment is held, not visited but held, the outer must remain in disarray. To live like you were meant to win is not about arrogance, it is about authority. The same authority that stilled storms, multiplied loaves, raised Lazarus. These were not miracles. They were demonstrations of what? Of law, of inner dominion over outer reflection. Every man who walked in spiritual power first walked in assumption. He was the thing before it arrived. He acted from the end, not toward it. That is the reversal you must now accept. You have imagined winning as the reward. It is not. It is the starting point. Every desire in your heart is a divine memory. It is the echo of something you've already claimed in higher realms. And the only delay in its appearance is the contradiction you carry between knowing and being. You affirm abundance but assume lack. You declare love but embody rejection. You speak freedom but still wear the chains of fear. And the law, being impersonal, being faithful, returns only what you are, not what you claim. There is no one to change but self, not the people around you, not your circumstances, not even your behavior, only your state. The law of consciousness is not moved by toil, but by tone. You want to win, then become the winner, now in breath, in posture, in thought. And let the world catch up to what you've dared to accept as law. Stop negotiating with conditions. Stop reasoning with time. Time is not your master. It is your servant. It obeys the inner decree. If you say it must take 6 months, then it must. If you say I'm not ready yet, then you will never be. But if you say I am now who I choose to be, and you hold that assumption in the furnace of the feeling without panic, without wavering, then nothing can stop its externalization. The law is mechanical, but your assumption is sovereign. To act like you were meant to win is to assume the position of the already crowned, not because the world approves, but because your soul remembers. The crown has always been yours. The robe has always hung within reach, but you keep dressing in the garments of delay. You keep speaking as the one waiting, even while you affirm the promise. No more. From this moment, you must become intolerant of the contradiction. Assume the end and dwell there. Walk from it, speak from it, imagine only from it. And if the old voice returns, you do not argue. You return quietly, calmly, completely to the state of the winner, the one who no longer chases outcomes, the one who commands them in silence, because that is the only way anything real has ever been created. Now we descend into the furnace of practice, not a practice of striving, but of stillness, not a performance for the world, but a sacred vow kept within. For the one who was meant to win does not beg the mirror to change. He becomes the reflection he desires and lets the mirror obey. If you will do what I now say, not once, not when convenient, but daily, steadily, as one who knows this is the path home, Then you will see what others call impossible bend before you without force. Each morning before the day lays its hand upon you, before memory and personality wrap themselves around you like garments, enter the silence. Not to ask, not to plead, but to assume. Sit in the throne of your being and declare inwardly, I am the one who was meant to win, not with noise, not with theatrics, but with complete inner alignment. Feel the truth of that sentence, not as something you hope for, but as something you remember. Let your breath carry the ease of one who has nothing to prove. That breath is the banner of the new state. Stand before your own reflection, not to be admired, but to be remembered. Look into your own eyes and say within, this is the face of the man who commands his world. This is the expression of the one for whom all things move into place. Then go out and move through the day as that one. You do not need to convince others. You do not need to explain your faith. The tone will do all the work. That inner command, silently spoken, will go before you and rearrange the field. Become exquisitely aware of your inner speech. The inner talk you indulge when no one is watching is the most creative thing you do all day. If your inner conversations still sound like desperation, explanation, justification, you are rehearsing defeat. Replace them, not with empty slogans, but with language befitting a victor. Hear yourself being congratulated. Imagine others recognizing the shift in your presence, but do not fantasize as a future. Speak inwardly as if it is already happening. This is the reversal you must master. The winner is not crowned at the end. The crown is assumed at the beginning. You enter every room as if you've already been affirmed by heaven, not to impress, but to express the state, the vibration, the tone of the fulfilled man. Others will feel it. They may not understand it, but they will respond. Identify now the rituals of the loser, the ways in which you unconsciously announce delay to the world. Hesitation, apology, over-explaining, needing feedback. These are the leaky behaviors of someone unsure of his right to win. Cut them, not with shame, but with clarity. Every act, every word, every breath must now rise from the assumption of victory. You must treat your tone like it is holy, because it is. It is the only thing that creates. When the world resists you, and it will, it is not a sign that the law is failing. It is a test of your frequency. Will you react? Will you doubt? Or will you return inward and hold the state? That is the entire curriculum of the winner, holding the end while the middle screams, remaining still while the storm performs. Do not break the posture. Do not abandon the tone. The law is faithful. If you remain, it must conform. Each night before sleep, enter once more the state of victory. Hear the praise, feel the completion. Dwell in the inner scene where your world has already caught up to who you chose to be. This is not delusion, it is dominion. You are rehearsing the end, not as fantasy, but as fact. Sleep in that vibration. Let your subconscious receive that tone, and it will do the work. This is your life now, walking as one who has already won. No matter the outer picture, no matter the delay, no matter the appearance, you act like the one who was meant to win because that is who you are. And every moment you hold that identity, the world is being silently bent into shape. You are not chasing, you are being, and being is the seed of every miracle. So when the doubt comes, and it will, you do not explain, you do not confess, you return to the tone, return to the breath, return to the sentence, I am the one who was meant to win, and you walk on. Now comes the quiet death. The old self, noble in its effort, faithful in its struggle, but bound still to the illusion of earning, must be buried, not in sorrow, but in reverence. It served its purpose, it brought you here, but it cannot come with you. The man who begs to win and the one who assumes victory cannot share the same skin. One must dissolve so the other may reign. And reign you shall, not by conquest, but by remembrance. You were always the winner, but you lived like a candidate. You were always the one chosen, the one sent, the one crowned in the invisible. But you walked like one hoping to be picked. You have moved through life as though your success were still under negotiation. your worth still pending a verdict. But I tell you, there is no jury, there is no trial, there is only the word. And the word was always in your mouth, I am. That is the final and only law. This is your rebirth, and it will not announce itself with thunder. It will arrive as stillness, a certainty that needs no signature, a breath that no longer rushes, a posture that no longer bends to be accepted. You will speak less. You will smile more. You will move as if life has already cleared the path before you, because it has. Because you cleared it the moment you assumed the one who was meant to win. Do not wait for applause. Do not check the mirror. Do not ask the world to confirm what your soul has already sealed. Walk on, quiet, dignified, immovable, and the world will bend, not because you forced it, but because you no longer wavered. This is not about getting what you want. It is about becoming who you were, the self before performance, the self before shame, the self before trying, the self that simply is. Let the old vibration fall away now. Let it crumble without comment. Let it dissolve without eulogy. You are not returning to who you were. You are emerging as who you've always been, the image and likeness of I am, the operant power made flesh, the one for whom winning is not a goal, but a natural consequence of alignment. So stand now, not in defiance, but in memory of the throne you once left and the crown you now reclaim. You are the one reality follows. If this stirred something inside you, it was meant for you. Not by accident, not by chance, but by alignment. The words were not information, they were confirmation. That quiet thrum beneath your ribs, that breath you didn't realize you were holding, that stillness where the mind finally went silent, that was the signal. The veil just lifted. And now you must choose what to do with what you remember. You don't need to share this. You don't need to announce a new chapter. You need only become, quietly, relentlessly, without detour, without confession. The world does not need another seeker. It needs a silent embodiment of truth. It needs you, not the version performing for change, but the one who walks as the end. From this day forward, act like you were meant to win. Breathe like the throne is beneath you. Speak only when the words match your victory. And if they do not, remain still. Stillness is now your weapon. Tone is now your armor. Assumption is now your command. And when the noise of the world returns, when the old identity scratches at the door, come back to this moment. Return to the breath, the memory, the sentence. I am the one reality follows. And the next time someone asks what you're doing, what's changed, why you move the way you do, say nothing. Just smile and walk on. Because the crown cannot be explained, it can only be worn. There is a version of you who is already free. Not tomorrow, not if the debt disappears, not once the job pays more, or the business begins to scale, or the miracle check arrives in the mail. There is a version of you who already walks in financial ease, who sleeps without anxiety, who awakens without dread, who lives without bargaining with reality. This version does not exist far off in the distance. It is not behind a gate that must be earned through effort or climbed toward with struggle. It is within you now, waiting not to be created, but to be activated. You were never meant to become wealthy. You were meant to remember that you already are. Every ounce of striving has been an illusion, a treadmill powered by the false assumption that you lack what you already carry. This is the divine reversal. This is the sacred disruption. What you seek is not ahead of you. It is behind the veil of who you think you are. The wall is not real. The barrier has no substance. It is a shadow cast by identification with a self you were never meant to remain. To activate the version of you that is financially free is to do the only true work Neville Goddard ever called you to do, to assume. Not lightly, not momentarily, not as a temporary affirmation, but as a garment placed upon the soul, a total acceptance, a merging, a surrender to the version of yourself that is already standing in the place you desire to reach. That version is not potential, it is real, and it lives in the dimension of assumption. This is not imagination as entertainment. This is imagination as resurrection. You are not closing your eyes to pretend. You are closing them to see, to bypass the lying evidence of the senses and peer into the eternal. For what you assume with feeling becomes your world. And the moment you assume that you are the one who is already free, the entire current of your life begins to shift. Circumstances realign, people rearrange, paths unfold that were never there before, because the world is not a cause, it is a mirror, and the mirror reflects the inner man, not the outer effort. So I ask you now, are you ready to stop trying? Are you ready to stop chasing, begging, praying from a place of lack? Are you ready to step into the vibration that the work is already done? That the version of you who is financially free is not a possibility, but a presence? Then walk with me now. Leave the garments of striving at the door. Step barefoot into the temple of your own being. We are not building anything new. We are awakening what has always been. You have spoken the words. You have written the affirmations. You have listened to the promises of abundance, repeated mantras into the mirror, journaled your desires in the early hours of the morning, and yet nothing holds. The bank account fluctuates like a tide that never fully comes in. The anxiety sits in the pit of your stomach like an iron knot. The opportunities rise and vanish like mist, and beneath it all, an invisible war rages, a war not between you and the world, but between you and yourself. For while your lips speak overflow, your identity whispers lack. While your conscious prayers reach toward wealth, your inner posture still crouches beneath the weight of unworthiness. You say, I am financially free, but you feel the tension in your chest, the doubt behind your eyes, the quiet panic that if this doesn't work soon, you'll fall even further behind. You are double-minded. You are trying to wear two garments at once, the robes of the wealthy and the rags of the fearful. And the law does not yield to confusion. The mirror cannot reflect clarity when you stand before it fractured. Neville warned us, assumption is not mere words, it is feeling, and feeling is the secret. You cannot fool the law with recitations if your soul still trembles with disbelief. The version of you that is financially free cannot coexist with the version of you that checks their balance in dread. One must die. The version sustained by anxiety must be laid down like a corpse, because the inner man is singular. He is either one who walks in fullness or one who begs for scraps. Do not be discouraged by this truth. Be liberated, for now you see the true cause of your delay. It is not your job, your upbringing, the economy, or karma. It is simply this. You have continued to try to become, rather than boldly assume that you already are. You have lived in transition, not in transformation. But that can change today. Not with striving, not with doing more, but with choosing differently, with the decision to abandon the lesser self and become violently loyal to the one who already lives in freedom. You do not need more time, you need a new identity. The war within must end, the contradiction must be severed. You cannot be both victim and sovereign. You cannot seek and find in the same breath. Either you are still trying or you are already in possession. Choose now, for the mirror does not wait, it simply reflects. There is only one cause, and it is not action. There is only one source, and it is not effort. The world you see around you is the offspring of your inner state, and the state you dwell in, the one you most identify with, the one you feel to be real, is what births all experience. This is the spiritual principle Neville spoke of with unwavering clarity. Assumption hardens into fact. Not desire, not effort, not even prayer. Assumption. It is not what you ask for. It is what you know yourself to already be that materializes. You are not waiting for money. You are not moving toward financial freedom. You are waking up to the version of you that already holds it. It exists now. There is no timeline, no delay, no divine checklist you must complete before you qualify. You qualify the moment you assume the identity of the free man. It is not a matter of earning, it is a matter of remembering, of activating that version and refusing to return to the lesser shell you once wore. You have been taught to pray from absence, to beg the heavens for increase, to act in desperation and call it faith. But true prayer is not supplication, it is identification. It is assuming that you already possess what the world cannot yet see. It is slipping into the frequency of that parallel self and dwelling there without question. It is becoming blind to appearances and loyal only to the unseen reality you've claimed. Assumption is not passive. It is the most radical creative act you can perform. It severs ties with all evidence to the contrary. It declares, I am the one who is financially free, even when the bank account says otherwise, even when the bills remain, even when the mind protests. For this is how God created. He called light out of darkness. He did not wait to see light. He spoke it. He felt it. And so must you. This is the key you have sought. This is the reversal the world calls delusion, but which the Spirit calls truth. The moment you assume the feeling of being financially free, you collapse the old timeline. You override the script. You shift into alignment with the eternal version of yourself who never knew debt, who never knew struggle, who never doubted their sufficiency. That version is not found by effort. It is activated by assumption. That is the law. And the law, my friend, is always faithful to its own. Close your eyes not to escape, but to see. Not to imagine a distant dream, but to expose a present lie. There is a version of you who walks this earth like a ghost, dressed in the garments of fear, speaking in the tones of lack, moving through the world with the posture of someone perpetually unchosen. You know this version well. It wakes with dread. It checks the phone in panic. It scans every bill with a sinking feeling in the gut. It calls itself realistic. It calls itself responsible. But it is a mask, a shadow self sustained not by truth, but by repetition. This false self is not evil. It is simply mistaken. It was built from the past, pieced together by memory, trauma, conditioning. It clung to what it could to survive. But survival is not your destiny. And now to rise, you must strip it away. You must name it for what it is, an identity of bondage, a vibration of incompletion, a mental costume that has convinced you it's your skin. But it is not. It never was. The false self will whisper, be careful. It will remind you of every failure, every overdraft, every denial. It will point to your current bank balance and say, this is who you are. But it lies. For you are not what you possess. You are what you assume. And if you continue to assume yourself to be the one who lacks, then the world will reflect that assumption with mathematical precision. So now, with sobering clarity, I call you to your spiritual mirror. Look, feel, speak. Who are you when no one is watching? What version of yourself do you inhabit by default? Does your inner voice echo power or apology? Do your thoughts flow like a river of wealth or drip like a leaking faucet of worry? Listen to yourself in silence, and then make the most sacred decision of your life. Decide that this version is over, not someday, not when circumstances shift. Now, decide that this identity no longer fits, that its season is complete, that its resonance has expired. Let it die. Let it dissolve. Lay it down like a garment made for someone else. There is no resurrection without death. There is no freedom without renunciation. You cannot pour new wine into old skins. You must mourn the self that kept you broke, not with grief, but with gratitude. For it showed you what was false. And now you are ready for what is real. Now that you have stripped away the false, you must clothe yourself in the true. You must step deliberately and without apology into the identity of the one who is already financially free. Not with fantasy, not with desperate wanting, but with the solemn dignity of someone who knows. You do not need to reach for it. You need only wear it. The financially free version of you is not a goal. It is a garment. And today, you put it on. Begin with the inner stance. Feel how this version of you breathes. There is no tension in the chest, no racing thoughts in the mind, no bargaining with the world. There is silence, authority, stillness. Not the stillness of passivity, but the stillness of someone who walks into a room and bends reality with presence. This is not arrogance. It is divine certainty. The kind Neville spoke of when he said, Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Now observe their posture. The one who is financially free does not shrink. They are not rushed. Their steps are measured, graceful, deliberate. They do not justify their decisions. They do not ask permission to prosper. They expect goodness. They move with the vibration of enough, enough money, enough time, enough space. Their aura does not seek validation. It radiates peace. Hear their inner speech. It is not frantic or rehearsed. It is clean, calm, and final. It says, I always have more than enough. It says, wealth follows me because I carry no resistance. It says, this is natural to me. No pleading, no someday, only I am. For that is the name of God in you. That is the name you must claim to make this real. Now, close your eyes and bring forth an imaginal scene, a snapshot of your financially free self, living naturally in that truth, not celebrating a sudden windfall, not clinging to lottery fantasies, but flowing through their daily life as if money were air, abundant, unseen, never questioned. You are not watching this scene. You are in it. You are being it. You are feeling it. And in that feeling, you create the fact. Remain here in this state for a moment longer. Let it etch itself into your nervous system, into your breath, into your bloodstream. Let this assumption become your home. For it is not enough to visit, you must live here. And when the world shows you contrast, when the bank account still echoes the old identity, do not flinch. Do not adjust your state to match the evidence. Let the evidence bend to match your state. This is embodiment. This is the hidden art. And this, beloved, is how the financially free version of you is not created, but remembered. Now that you have assumed the mantle of your financially free self, you must learn the sacred rhythm of recalibration. This is not a one-time act. It is a daily return to the altar of assumption, a continual cleansing of the inner temple. The old self will rise like a ghost in familiar rooms, through bills, phone calls, unexpected delays, forgotten debts, and it will tempt you to bow again to its voice. But you are no longer that man. You are no longer that woman. You are no longer the one who reacts. You are the one who realigns. When the fear creeps in, and it will pause. Do not speak. Do not explain. Go within. Ask, from what identity am I about to respond? If it is the old self, do not move. Let the moment pass like a cloud over the sun. Let the urge to spiral dissolve in stillness. Reclaim the tone, the posture, the breath of the financially free self. Hear again their voice in your head. I do not worry, I remain. This, my beloved, is spiritual discipline, not in force, but in frequency. Neville told us, do not condition your assumption upon any external fact. The world is slow to catch up, but the law is instant. The moment you realign, the wheel turns. It may take days for the outer world to show signs, but the change is already sealed in the invisible. You must be more loyal to the unseen reality than to the evidence before your eyes. Every time you fall out of state is not failure. It is an invitation. Every slip is a mirror showing you what still asks to be healed. Use these moments not to spiral, but to recalibrate. You are not starting over. You are deepening, sharpening, strengthening your command. This process will feel unnatural at first, like tuning an instrument long out of harmony. But persist. The subconscious does not argue. It accepts the dominant vibration. And if your dominant inner state becomes overflow, then the outer form must eventually conform. Weed your garden daily, not with fear, but with reverence. Pluck the small thoughts of lack before they root. Speak softly to yourself in moments of silence. This is who I am now, not in hope, but in truth. This is not repetition. This is installation. You are not practicing wealth. You are restoring remembrance. And that remembrance is what bends the world. There is no more sacred hour for creation than the final moments before sleep. The world grows quiet. The body softens. The gate between conscious and subconscious opens like a veil parted in the temple. It is here, in this threshold between day and dream, that you plant the assumption that will govern your world. It is not what you did during the day that shapes your life. It is the state you fall asleep in. This is the divine rehearsal. This is the nightly ceremony of embodiment. You must go to sleep, not as the one who hopes to be financially free, but as the one who already is. You must let that version wrap around you like warm cloth. Your final thoughts should not be cluttered with worry, plans, or unanswered questions. Your final breath should carry the stillness of fulfillment. See the scene, feel the freedom, not in a rushed attempt to manifest, but in quiet gratitude that it is already so. Neville said, "Man must make his future dream a present fact by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. And there is no moment more potent for that assumption than sleep. Because the conscious mind is quiet, resistance is silent, and the subconscious, the true builder of your world, accepts what it is given in stillness and in repetition. Do not turn sleep into a strategy. It is not a trick. It is not a hack. It is a return, a coming home to the true self. Let your last conscious act be the assumption that you already walk in overflow. Picture your life from that end. What room do you sleep in? What sheets cover your body? What does your home smell like? How does your heart beat when money is no longer a question, but an atmosphere? Sink into that version. Whisper to your inner man, "It is done." And do not check for signs in the morning. You are not planting seeds to uproot them. You are burying them in the unseen, where the soul of reality grows things. The one who is truly free does not seek proof. They carry peace. And the proof rushes to meet them in due time. So tonight, lie down in the end, not the end of what you lack, the end of what you've claimed. Let the world continue its noise. You have crossed the threshold. You have chosen the version of yourself who lacks nothing. And as you sleep, that version takes root. That version becomes law. You are the financially free self now. Sleep in that truth and let the world obey. You are no longer on the journey. You are no longer seeking, becoming, or chasing. You are now being. The version of you that once doubted, that once calculated every move through the lens of insufficiency. That self is gone. Not because you changed the world, but because you changed your identity. And when identity shifts, the world follows. You have completed the sacred reversal. You no longer stand at the foot of the mountain, you speak from it. Let this moment settle into your bones. Do not rush past it. This is the stillness of one who no longer reacts, the silence of one who knows, the peace that belongs only to the sovereign. You do not need the world to acknowledge what you already are. You no longer plead with reality. You assume it, you embody it, you radiate it, and the universe obeys not your effort, but your frequency. Neville did not teach you to climb a ladder to God. He taught you to awaken as God. The I am that once said, "I am poor," now says, "I am wealthy," not as a hope, not as an incantation, but as a fact beyond debate. You are the version who is financially free. It is not a distant manifestation. It is the essence of your being, unveiled. Every circumstance now bows to that truth because the cause is no longer outside you. It never was. Walk now with the quiet confidence of completion. Let your decisions reflect the peace of one who is no longer at war with reality. Let your speech flow from inner royalty. Let your presence speak louder than explanation. There is no need to shout. The sun does not announce itself, it rises. You are not manifesting money, you are revealing the self for whom money was never missing. You have crossed, you have become, you have remembered. If something within you shifted during this message, it was never because of the words. It was because the words found their echo in a place that already knew. I did not bring you something new. I reminded you of what was always yours. You were not invited to believe. You were invited to remember. And if you did, then let that remembrance remain sacred. You do not need to comment to prove you've heard. But if something stirred and you feel it rising, mark this moment. Seal it in silence or whisper in the space below the words, "I have returned to myself." Let this be your covenant, not with me, but with your own soul. A line drawn in the unseen where the old self was laid to rest and the financially free self took the throne. Let no man pull you back into the past. Let no number, no news, no delay distract you from the identity you have now assumed. You are not waiting. You are walking. You are not hoping. You are holding. You are not learning. You are living. If the veil grows heavy in days to come, if the world knocks on your door with doubt or delay, return to this temple. Let the words wash you again, not to convince you, but to remind you. This is the role of sacred repetition, not to teach, but to preserve, not to add, but to deepen. There is no next step. There is only this state. Dwell in it, guard it, return to it when the winds rise. The world may not yet reflect it, but the seed is planted. And seeds do not scream, they grow in silence. If this stirred something inside you, it was meant for you. Come back to this when the veil thickens again. Walk now and speak little. Let your life announce the truth. The version of you who is free has been activated.